Okay, I got one other short little anecdote that I want to talk about today. This should really be cool because I wrote, again, an article a long time ago. It's based off of this premise. Now, eventually, I might do an explanative where I'll explain it on the drums so you guys can see me perform it, but I don't have it down in the pure form, so I wouldn't really attempt to try to teach it because I never studied with the man that invented the technique. But the article was called The Gladstone Secret. By the way, this is Jeff Van Dyke. You guys know that. These are drum anecdotes or unplugged versions of different philosophies that hopefully will help you guys to achieve your goals. You know, Don Famularo wrote a book when he was alive. It had the title of something empowerment. It's really cool. You know, Don Famularo was almost like the Tony Robbins of drumming. He really, he was like a motivational kind of guy, you know. He really motivated people. When he gave clinics and he spoke, he would talk. He was really funny. Sometimes he told funny stories, but let me get back. So I wrote an article called The Gladstone Secret. Now, for those of you that don't know, Billy Gladstone, now don't hold me to this, because this is information that I picked up somewhere, which I pass on to you. So it may not be accurate, but there's a pretty good chance it is, because Ronnie Gould, my late instructor, told me the story. And I think I read it somewhere too. That when Buddy Rich was a young student of drumming, he would frequently go to Radio City Music Hall and watch Billy Gladstone play. I believe Billy Gladstone played in the Radio City pit band. So whenever they would have shows, he was the drummer and percussionist. There were probably other guys too in the percussion section. Usually in those bands, they had like a snare drummer, maybe a timpanist, maybe another percussionist. I really don't know how many percussionists they had in the orchestra, but there's usually more than one. But in any event, he talked about watching this guy. Now, I don't know if Buddy studied with him or not, but he certainly picked up the proposition of the guy's approach to technique. The Gladstone technique. Now, I never really studied it because of the fact that I never had the pleasure to study with Gladstone. When I started drumming, I don't know if Gladstone was even still alive. I really don't remember when he passed away. But from what I was told, Gladstone technique is sort of an approach where you follow the stick up. It's a very loose technique. In other words, where you're holding the stick loosely and you kind of let the stick do the bouncing. And when you play that way, you're able to probably get things a lot faster. It's like you're kind of throwing it. Now, it's not as pronounced as the Moeller technique, but there are guys that have combined the Moeller technique with the Gladstone technique. Famularo could teach the Moeller technique. I couldn't teach it because it was never taught to me, but I play with it sometimes when I kind of throw the stick down. But in any event, it's really the philosophy of loose playing. Buddy Rich once equated it in an article somewhere. I read that Buddy Rich once said that to really get the kind of speed that Buddy was able to get, he was probably the fastest drummer that ever breathed rhythm. I don't know if there's anybody that was faster than him. But that wasn't the important thing. It was just what he did was so amazing. I mean, there are a lot of guys today, there's a couple of people out there, that can probably play so fast, but don't really say too much. Buddy really said a lot. I mean, he just had a way of phrasing. But he said in one of his interviews that it's a matter of leaving enough atmosphere, whatever that is, between the skin on the hand and the drumstick so that you're loose. And by doing that, you're able to generate a lot more speed. I watch some of these kids that come in sometimes to Sam Ash from time to time, practicing on the practice pads on the counter, doing NISMA stuff. And I watch them, they work with a very tight snap-up kind of thing. And I don't think that's really good for your hands, because you're snapping up, you're gripping the stick, you're putting more strain on the wrist. When you get older, you're going to run into hand problems if you play that way. Then there are guys that just play so hard. I seen a guy on YouTube he was playing so hard. It really, not really necessary with mics and everything and sound stuff, but that kind of thing, he's never going to be able to get his technique together. Now there's some guys that play hard, but not so hard. I don't know. I don't have any comment on that. But anyway, but when I watch these kids do that sort of thing, I tell them, you keep playing like that, you're eventually just going to have stiff wrists, because you're playing so regimented. You're going to loosen up a little bit. So that's the basic premise. And there's a lot of books that you can use to study the Gladstone technique. Stick Control by George Gladstone. Not all the patterns in that book are usable. So you're going to have to pick the ones that are your favorite. I did a compilation sheet on the best patterns in the Stick Control book, and I put them on a little cardboard sheet. And I hand them out to people who say, they love to kind of work on their techniques. And those are good patterns, because I'm going to have to do an explanative. In fact, maybe I'll start doing some explanatives on the pad. And I'll just kind of set up the pad and show you guys a little bit. Don't want to spend too much time on that. I'd rather at this point spend my time creating and playing. But keep that in mind. Try to be loose. And I'll give you one other exercise that you can do. Then there's also finger technique. Peter Greco is probably, and Frank Pellucci, those two guys are the best at that finger technique. It's almost like you're using your fingers to propel the stick to get really, really fast groupings. I have some finger technique, but not the the arch kind of thing. Al Miller had that. That was unbelievable. Frank can do that. When he does that, he does these single strokes that are just, they go by you so fast you don't even know they went by you. It's really amazing. Watch Frank. But anyway, stay loose. And one other thing that you can do, which has nothing to do with Gladstone, but it's a good little thing to do once in a while. If you get a good pair of brushes and you practice, first off, it's good to know how to work with brushes. Lou Garvey, the late great Lou Garvey, he was the best brush player that I ever met. He really knew the concept. Unfortunately, he's not here anymore, but I remember when me and Peter and Lou gave clinic over at Sam Ash, Lou demonstrated it on the brushes and showed you that technique. It was amazing. I never had really good brush technique for playing brushes and songs, but if you play brushes for, say, 5 minutes, because the brushes don't really have any rebound, but they do have a little bit of rebound, you kind of have to work your hands a little bit more. And then when you pick up the sticks, you feel like you're flying. So, if you work with brushes, but not too much, though, And definitely, as I mentioned, don't play with those boulder sticks, because those things will mess your hands up. Unless, you just like playing with boulder sticks, I think you want to remember the Cozy Powell had really heavy sticks. But that's, that's just what he was comfortable with. I guess he just felt that way. I've seen some of the sticks out today. They can get a little chunky, but you guys got to decide on that. So basically, the bottom line to what I'm trying to say, what am I trying to say? I have no idea what I'm trying to say. That guy doesn't make any sense. But no, stay loose, be cool, I'm cool, it's cool, you're cool, hey man, give me a pack of cool. See you guys soon. By the way, I was kidding you about the pack of cool. I don't smoke anymore. If you guys are smoking out there, I'd recommend you stop. Thanks. I don't mean to be a preacher. Lord have mercy.